But it's nice. Really, really nice. Hello, people. Trust you're all doing great. What's the singer's greatest asset? The voice, right? So that's what's obvious. That's what everybody will go for. Have you considered the ears? Have you thought about somebody who has a great voice but not ears for music? You know, people who cannot identify pitch, keys, and all of that. So let's find a way to bring the ears in. So singers, please train your ears to hear right. Don't be between, I heard this, is it that? Train your ears to hear right. The reason is what you hear determines what you produce. What you hear determines how you sing. People saying, I didn't get the pitch right. I didn't know what to, no. Even if you're scoring songs, you need to be able to hear right. If you have a singing model, you need to be able to copy, sing, and pick details, things that, the person who's not musical will just, glide past, but you would hear it. The people that actually listen to music and can pick details go far. You want to be able to hear exactly the notes that were sung. You want to be able to, instead of just gliding down notes, you know that there are notes involved. Even if the person did I'm talking about runs right now. So you can pick out all the notes that were involved in the run or runs. So you need that. You need to train your ears to hear right. You need to train your ears to hear right. And please pick everything necessary when you're listening to music. If you're listening for a particular instrument, listen to everything that instrument did. If you're listening to the BVs, hear everything they did. Harmony patterns, you heard some things that were weird, you need to be able to pick them. So the next thing I'm going to be talking about is pitch and then range. Why? Because I met a lady one time who was feeling very bad and sad. She goes, and I'm like, why you? She said, no, that she doesn't have pitch. But everyone does have pitch. And she says, then why can't I sing high? So I'm like, okay, you just cannot sing high, but you have pitch. And I know there are probably some people who are in this lady's shoes or even worse. You're depressed, you're down because somebody's able to hit high notes and then you're finding it very uncomfortable or finding it very like it's impossible for you to hit those notes. So don't beat yourself. You've got pitch. What's pitch? Pitch is just simply how high or how low. So the person you're looking at that's making you depressed may just be this high and maybe this low. Are there advantages in being this high? Yes, but that's where range comes in. You may be this high, but you can also be this low. So what this means is this person that is this high can be this high and they're not able to hit notes lower than this. So what we should be bothered about is your range. What's your range? Distance between your highest and your lowest pitch. So don't cry over this. Don't cry over this. What you should be bothered about is how to, have this. So your range should be broad, not just the high. No, you also need the lows. Why? Because there are notes you need to sing, and then you don't need to crack out, or you should still be audible. We should still hear you if you're singing low notes. So are there exercises to do to be able to broaden your range? Yes. So somebody goes, you need to be able to train yourself. We're gaining pitch, yes, and don't get it wrong, this is also possible. You can gain pitch. There are exercises you can do to be able to, increase your highs, go higher than you are. I'll mention a couple of them, or maybe just one of them in this video. You do this and then train yourself to also, the exercises to go low. So what you should be bothered about is not necessarily going high, but increasing or broadening your range. Funny, some of these people don't even know their vocal ranges. Somebody goes, "What's your vocal range?" You need to be able to know, because I should, from your range, know where to place you. So your range, well, they're categorized under voice types. If you're speaking about range, they're categorized under voice types. You're a soprano if you're that high, and then the next below that is the mezzo soprano. There are a couple of them, but I'll just break them into ones that we can identify with for now. That are. So there's the soprano, there's the mezzo soprano, there is the alto. After the alto, slightly below the alto, you have the contralto. And then you have the tenor, you have the mezzo tenor, you have the baritone, and then you have the bass. So first you have the soprano, you have the mezzo soprano, you have the alto, you have the contralto, you have the tenor, you have the mezzo tenor, you have the baritone, and then you have the bass, like the bass, like the bass. So find where you fit in all of this. I know there are people who are posing, well, not posing, but think they're soprano singers, but they're actually alto singers. You can be a soprano in this choir, and by the time you get to another choir, you're like, these people are high. And then you just, to avoid embarrassment, just find yourself around the altos and stay. So find out where you actually belong, and then train yourself to be good in that space, in that space, while you're aspiring to go higher and taking on the exercises that will help you get higher. But be very strong around your space. Like, be the go-to person in that space. Be the can't do without in that space. To ensure that your notes are firm, ensure that you sing the right thing, ensure that you hear properly. We spoke about hearing the other, earlier. So ensure that you hear properly. And then that's it. So for the exercises to do to gain pitch, pick a simple song. Start where you're comfortable at. Let somebody play for you, identify the key. For instance, if it's a D you're starting with, that key is good, and then you sing. Practice that same song on a tone higher, that's E. And then if you're doing E the first time, it might be a little rough, but just stay there. And then, okay, you've conquered the E, fine. Let's go to the next tone from the E. That means you're doing F sharp. And then you're doing F sharp on that song. It might be rough, like really rough. This is me pushing you beyond doing semitones. Okay, semitones higher. You can do semitones higher, but let's do tones. So you get to F sharp, and then practice that same song on F sharp. By the time you know it, oh wow, okay, so we can do G sharp or A flat. Then, oh wow, it's high, but try. Give it some time, some days interval to get back there, and then do that consistently. That's one of the easiest ways to just, hit notes and then go higher. Don't be, the thing about high keys, I tell some of my students, is in the head. Very many times keys are not actually high, but when that's high, you haven't even tried. You haven't even tried. So it's in the head. Be daring as a singer. That's what I tell my students. Be daring as a singer. Be able to not just try new things, but be able to try hitting. Let me hear you try, and then you cracked out when we're rehearsing. That way it's like, you need to keep hitting on this. After a while, it will go up or it will give way. So you are You are A few tips more, just be around, stick around, and then be able to, like, share, and subscribe to get more tips. And just follow this constantly so that you can get properly acquainted with some of the things that give other people stress. Thank you very much.